Welcome back to the IdahoSports.com State Tournament Preview Special, Girls Basketball Edition. It is time now to take a look at the 5A State Basketball Tournament. Let's bring on our 5A broadcasters wearing his finest flannel tonight, Scott Burton.
Hey, Brandon, you know what? I was sitting out here in a very thin shirt, and I'm in my garage because this is where all this is set up, right? And so I sat here and I'm like, I am getting cold. So I ran back inside and grabbed my lumberjack jacket, and now we're ready to go. I feel like a man now.
Yes. This guy also fantastic, sharp-dressed guy. It's Ryan Luke as well. Ryan, what's going on? Uh-oh, we can't hear you. We can't hear you, Ryan.
It's got to be a flat brim.
Okay, hang tight. Yep. On that note, Scott, let's go ahead and take a look at this 5A bracket. And here are the matchups. Middleton, Sandpoint in the 3-6. Mountain Home, Jerome, 2-7. 1 and 8 is Pocatello and Bishop Kelly. Blackfoot and Skyline, the nightcap in the 4 versus 5. What is I already know what you're going to say. What's the first thing that jumps out to you when you look at this bracket, Scott?
Wow. 2 games featuring conference opponents is the number one thing that I see. But a close second is Middleton is number 3. So you can weigh either one of those. I think both of those stand out when you look at this bracket. You've got Mountain Home and Jerome going to play for the 4th time to open their state tournament. And then you've got Blackfoot and Skyline to play for the 4th time to close day 1. So that jumps out. But then, you got Middleton, who has really just been dominant all year long, and they come in at a number 3 seed. I think it's interesting.
Okay, already getting some shout-outs in the comments here, Scott. Here's Nick 3 in the house. Let's go Tigers. Moho.
I thought you left and took another phone call.
Yeah, no. Here's Josh Byers. Let's go Vikings. Middleton Vikings there. Mm-hmm. Hey, let's bring in Ryan Luke. Ryan, can you hear us?
Yes, can you hear me? I'm backstage still.
Yeah, no, okay.
There, are we good?
Yes, you're on. Hey, you look at this bracket. What's the first thing that jumps out to you, Ryan?
It jumps out to me is you have Pocatello on one side and you have Middleton on the other, and that's a cataclysmic clash of titans.
Yeah, it sure looks like we're on a collision course there of 1 versus 2. Let's just start with Pocatello because they are the number 1 seed. Scott, this is a group that has played a lot as freshmen and sophomores, and they are now finally seniors and juniors. In terms of height, not many teams are going to be able to match the 1-2 combo of Kenna Garza, the 6'3 center, Abby Lusk, the silky smooth 6'1 forward. Pocatello's success starts there, but they've got a really diverse group of playmakers. They've gotten very close the last couple of years. They lost in the semis to Skyline last year in a game that they thought they should have won. Didn't make some plays late. Is this the year Pocatello breaks through and wins it all?
I think it's the year that they get to the championship game. I think if it goes chalk, then they are going to have all kinds of problems with Middleton. But this is a really good team, and the 2 players that lead the way for Pocatello are Abby Lusk, the junior, and Kennison Garza, the senior, averaging 16 and 15 points respectively. But, this is a really good team. They come in with a fantastic record, and their losses, they lost to a team in Utah, and then they lost to Eagle, by 2. And both of those losses were in the East Idaho Holiday Tournament, over the break. But this is a really good team, and I think they're a solid number 2 behind Middleton.
Interesting. Okay, so Ryan, let's talk about Middleton. They are the number 3 seed overall in this bracket. We kind of already discussed that. They're 23-1. Their only loss this year is to Hawaii, the number 1 team in 6A, and it was only by 12, and they've got a lot of pelts up on the wall. They beat Boise. They beat Timberline. They beat Eagle. They ran roughshod through their conference. I think, unfortunately, and we see it with Bishop Kelly as the number 8 seed, the rest of that conference really dragged Middleton down in terms of the well, there goes Scott, you're nodding in agreement. This conference, unfortunately, there was just a lot of subpar teams that dragged Middleton down ultimately. That's how I view it.
Yeah, this Middleton team is so loaded and so young. They've got one senior, and this is a group that has been together with Coach Blackwell since the second grade. So this is a group that's been groomed, and they're led by Elsie Wyatt, their point guard, very quick off the dribble. She'll take anybody off the dribble. You better be in a stance when you're guarding her. And then, of course, Coach's daughter, Zoe Blackwell, she's the leader of the team, and she's also a really good defender. I mean, she's kind of amassed over 100 steals this year. She eclipsed the 1,000-point mark, and both of those two girls averaged 13 points a game. But this is a deep, young, versatile team that averages 69 points a game, which in girls basketball is insane. And they have blown out just about everybody they've played. Now, what's going to happen when they get into a close game in the state tournament? I don't know. We'll see. But this is a team that has just dominated everybody all season long.
Now, Ryan, I'm going to ask you this question because Scott's a little too close to the situation. Scott, for those that don't know, is the athletic director at Jerome High School. He doesn't let that influence anything in terms of his broadcasting. Jerome and Mountain Home have played 3 times this year. Mountain Home has won all 3. Can Jerome break through at state for the 4th time and finally nip the Tigers, or do you think Moho is moving on to the semis?
So Moho does. Boy, I think there's a geopolitical play here that we probably don't want to get into, but no, they don't. Unfortunately, I think Jerome just doesn't have the talent level to get past them. I do think Mountain Home brings a lot more this year. They've built up to this point, and again, 4 times. Look, it's tough to beat somebody twice. It's even more difficult to beat them 3 times, but I think the 4th time, honestly, that's the time that you start knowing that they have your number at that point. I do think that, unfortunately, Mountain Home is going to move on in that showdown of, I don't even know how you would explain it, near Southern, we'll call them Southern Idaho rivals.
Yeah. And I will say 2 of the 3 were really close. I mean, Mountain Home only beat Jerome by a point in overtime in the regular season finale between those 2. And then in the district championship, 49-41, only an 8-point game. But for both of these teams, Scott, really good starting lineups, a couple of players they lean on, but not a ton of depth, right?
Correct.
For both of these teams.
Yeah, both of these teams don't go really deep. And you want to look at, let's take Mountain Home, for example. They play 7, maybe 8 at times. But the thing about Mountain Home is they know who they are. That they have an identity. They know who they are. They are going to try to get out in transition and take an early 3 if they can get it. And if those 3s are fallen, they could beat anybody. If they're not, then they could struggle a little bit. But what they're really good at doing is pulling you out because they've got 3 or 4 people that can shoot the 3. I mean, Lexi Longhurst, their point guard sophomore, the player of the year in the Great Basin Conference, averaging 17 points a game. She's the straw that stirs the drink for Moho. But she's complemented by Julie Donez, probably the most versatile player that they have, and Peyton Blodgett and Ava Johnson inside. But what Mountain Home can do to you is they can spread you out defensively. And once they get you guarding the perimeter, they've got enough size that they can isolate you in the block. And that is what Jerome has struggled with in those 3 matchups, was that particular combination right there. Jerome, on the other hand, they've got a freshman phenom in Sawyer Gerard. This kid's going to be a stud, and she already is. But they need their other players to step up. Emma Allen, the senior, probably the most athletic one on the team, she's got to play well. Jensen Cook is scrappy, can really make things happen, but Jerome can do some things on the pressure side of defense in the full court that cause people problems. They just have these little lapses to where you watch them and they're like, are you even interested in being there right now? And once they kind of get it going, man, they can roll. So I don't know. This is going to be an interesting matchup again for the 4th time.
Yep. Here's Jerb in the comments, guys. Mountain Home, 2 6-foot posts and 5 excellent guards. That's that 7 that you were alluding to there, Scott. Jerb also wants to give some love to Skyline. They lost to Hawaii by 5, played them better than anyone else in Idaho, with the exception of Eagle, of course, who beat Hawaii. Ryan, tell me about Skyline. They've got the best player in the tournament, Shea Shippen, over 1,000 career points, over 1,000 career rebounds. She's going to Columbia in the Ivy League to play next season. And yet, Skyline has lost to Blackfoot each of the last 2 times they've played, in the regular season finale and then in the district championship game.
Yeah, you bring up a really good point. And the truth is in girls basketball, there are 2 big key factors. Number one, you can't turn the ball over. If you can play possession ball and you can move it around and you don't turn the ball over, stupid mistakes, stupid turnovers, you're going to give yourself a pretty good chance to win. But then the number 2, we'll call it the X factor, is if you have a dominant player. And Shea Shippey is a dominant player. And we saw that last year in the state championship when they took on Shelley. They played an even more dominant player in versus Shelley, and they came up short of the state championship. And then they came back. But she's so versatile in the way that she moves the ball and the way that she scores. And she can score around the rim. And she's not a tower by any means, but she has range. She's inside, outside. She does a lot of things really well. So the key for Skyline to beat Blackfoot, as you said, they've lost to them the last couple of times. They ended the season higher in the conference because those came in the conference tournament, and one of the games was not in conference play. All that being said, is Blackfoot's the 4 seed, Skyline's the 5 seed, and this is a dogfight. They're seeing each other for I think this is the 4th time in it'll be 3 weeks that they've played each other. They have each other's number. They know what they need to do. A good coach on the Blackfoot side is going to check Shea, double team her, going to do whatever she needs to do because she does carry that team so much. And then a good coach on the Skyline side is going to make the adjustments and be able to get the ball in and out of her hands quickly, but again, maintaining possession of the ball. So this is a dogfight. I'll be honest with you. I do not know who's going to win this game. I would love to lean Skyline based on the X factor of such a good dominant player, but the truth is I just don't know. I mean, you see what Blackfoot's done up until now in these last couple of outings. It's going to be dogfight.
And you mentioned the 2 coaches, Ramey Odom for Blackfoot, Ty Keck for Skyline. They have both taken their teams to the championship round in very recent history. 2 of the best coaches. It would not shock me to see whoever won that game between those 2 in the first round push Pocatello in the semis and maybe even knock out Pocatello. I mean, Skyline just did it last year, which is just incredible. Here's Jerb, 2,315 career points for Shea Shippen, the all-time Idaho career scorer, we think. There's no official rule book or score record book. 10 rebounds per game average for her career, over 1,000 rebounds. It's incredible. And then the third coach I wanted to single out is Will Love from Sandpoint. Sandpoint won the North. He won a state championship with Sandpoint only 3 years ago. So there's some really good star power with the coaches in this tournament, some really dangerous players. Right now, though, guys, we're going to put up our 5A players to watch. We chose 1 player from each team, kind of a starting point, just a jumping off point here to get the ball rolling. Brooke Hutchinson from Bishop Kelly. I believe she's going to the College of Idaho to play basketball. Addison Tanner from Blackfoot, great guard. Emma Allen from Jerome. Blackwell, the point guard from Middleton. Longhurst Garza. Breckenmeyer from Sandpoint, only a sophomore, started every game as a freshman last year, along with Jordan Tomko. So that's 2 sophomores who have a lot of experience. And then, of course, Shea Shippen from Skyline. Scott, give me 1 player that you're really excited to see play this weekend.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna stay away from the obvious, because Shea should be on a list by herself. But aside from that, I'm interested to see Lexi Longhurst. And the reason why is because she's a young point guard, but she is well mature in her game. And when you have a point guard, you can make things happen. We've seen so many teams do wonderful things in a tournament when they've got a ball handler. We've seen teams struggle when they don't, because that ball handler is the one that gets you in your offense, that keeps you together, and they don't necessarily have to score. Lexi can score, and she's going to be the one that's going to get Mountain Home started if they have a chance to advance. Now, I don't say that because they're playing against my Jerome Tigers. I'm just saying, as a point guard, that one intrigues me.
Yeah. Ryan, give me 1 player you're excited to see this weekend.
Blackwell. And the reason is because she's an extension of mom on the court. And if you know Coach Blackwell, she brings so much energy and she runs a tight ship. And you're going to see that on the court. Scott, you mentioned ball handling and taking control, taking care of the ball, and that's exactly what she's going to do. I'm excited to see her because she's going to run one of the best team in this tournament. She is the motor that runs the best team in this tournament.
Yeah, it is a high-flying Middleton team, that is for sure. And here is Sean Kane in the chat throwing a player we didn't even put on the graphic, Abby Lusk from Pocatello as well. It's a worthy choice.
If she was on there, I was going to give it to Abby Lusk. I really was, but you didn't. So I saw Abby last year, and I remember seeing her as a sophomore because I did this tournament, and I literally looked at her and said that she's going places. And she, like you said at the beginning, silky smooth. She moves really well without the ball. She actually got the defensive player of the tournament because she helped, like the backside help defense, the things she did. I would say Abby Lusk would be the other one, but you didn't put her on there, Brandon. Your fault.
Well, here's why. Abby's only a junior. Ken is a senior. So I said, all right, we can talk about Abby Lusk next year. Not to put any pressure on Pocatello already for next season, but we can talk about Abby Lusk and the Thunder next year. Jurab in the chat, guys. Blackfoot could win the title. The freshman Jackman is terrific. Addison Tanner, All-State, and Waterhouse, Sarah Waterhouse, 6'2" center, playing really tough as well. So now it's time, guys. I'm gonna put the bracket back up on the screen and ask you, Scott. I'll go to you first. Give me your championship prediction and your winner.
Oh man, you know what? I like all these teams. I really do. I think that Sandpoint's coming out of the north, and they're always that big question mark because of who they play. Middleton is Middleton. Mountain Home can beat anybody on any given day. Jerome is just workmanlike and scrappy, and they could advance. Pocatello, we just talked about them, how good they are. Bishop Kelly just will throw out athletes at you. They'll athlete you. Blackfoot's got the size. That's going to be crucial because they've got 3 girls over 6 foot. And then you've got Skyline, and we talked about them and Shea, but Shea's got help. Okay, now that I've just previewed all of that, I'm going to go chalk. Almost. I'm going to go Pocatello and Middleton.
And who are you picking?
You know what? I think it's Middleton's year. I really do. They have just been that dominant all year long. And this is a group of girls from Middleton that have been together. Like I said, they're going on 10 years, with their coach. And it's just one of those things that they're young and they've got it all. They'll get after you in the full court. They've got players that can score. They are quick. They've got a point guard in Elise Wyatt, or Elsie Wyatt, beg your pardon. And they score. They score, and they score. So I'm going Middleton over Pocatello.
All right, Ryan, what do you got?
Make it 2 times. Middleton over Pocatello, 2 really good, talented teams. I said from the beginning, a cataclysmic, boy, that's a tough one, clash of titans. And if you see Middleton play, the way that they run and they move the ball, they'll get out on fast breaks, and they limit their turnovers. They control the ball really well. And then you see Pocatello on the other side again, Abby Lusk, Garza. There's a lot of height, a lot of athleticism. So, and then I take Middleton in the championship. And if you only lose one basketball game all year, and it's to one of the other best teams in the state at their house, I think you have a pretty good shot to do good things.
And no doubt about it, Middleton will be the best dressed team. The coaching staff always in the same matching outfits. They look good on the sidelines. Yes. And look good, play good for Middleton. No doubt about it. All right. Ryan Luke and Scott Burton, gentlemen, thank you. We're looking forward to your broadcast of the 5A State Girls Tournament on IdahoSports.com. And when we come back, we're going to go to the 4As. And if you thought predicting this 5A bracket was tough, just wait until you see the juggernaut of teams that are waiting at the 4A level. That's coming up next. You're watching the 2025 Idaho Girls Basketball State Tournament Preview Special on IdahoSports.com.
At Valleywide Cooperative, we're here when you need us. For 100 years, we have been here to help you with food, fuel, and good old-fashioned advice. And for us, serving is more than a job, it's a way of life, which is why we pour so much into the communities around us. We've employed hundreds of your neighbors. We take pride in that, and in giving back millions in sponsorships, grants, donations, and scholarships. It's our way of saying thanks. We're Valleywide, and yesterday, today, and tomorrow, we're here for you.